So Cal and Julia, is it okay if the panelists chat a little bit? I mean, I have some suggestions about the projects that if we're waiting, are we just waiting for Josh to come on board?
I mean, you're live. You can chat. We can all chat. That's totally fine. You're chatting with us and all of the guests.
Right, right. So I'd like to say to everybody, great job. The projects this year were at the same level as the years when we were in person. So being apart didn't seem to stop the ingenuity. In fact, maybe even increased it. So after having seen many of these, to you all who did the projects, really impressive. And then the one thing that we always find is after we're done with this, we all sort of step away and put these projects away. And part of it is because we don't know what the next step might be. So I see Nate Ames here is on the panel, and I'd like to give out a shout out to Names, who actually teaches product design and works with design firms. So Columbus has a firm called Priority Design, for example. I think some of you may want to look into, what does a design firm do? Sort of go online and look up a design firm. They're not engineering firms, they're design firms, and they help you take an early phase product and take it to the next level. And it's not about just going out and making money. You actually have to try it out, find a beta set of customers, get them to complain about it. And so maybe at one of the hype sessions down the road, someone like Nate or others who have design experience could sort of give a session on, here's how you take this to a next step where you even worry about the color of the product, right? So it's that level. And Sean Miller Moeller is also familiar with design. So as is Sandra Metzler, who has her own business, right? So there's a number of us who might be able to bring this to the next step. And yes, I wore my hat today just so I can take my hat off to the whole team here and hide my hair. So, I haven't had a haircut since, well, one haircut that was sort of random cutting, right?
Dr. Bibick, if I can tag on to that. Hi, everyone. My name's Tim Raderstorff. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer out of the College of Nursing. I run the innovation studios on campus. So, a lot of you are going to be really excited with the awards you get today, and some of you are going to be disappointed. But I want you to know that the Innovation Studio will fund every one of these projects. So if you come to us on our next pitch day, which is going to be on April 13th, if you want to continue to work on your projects, we will continue to provide you with the resources, tooling, and any types of materials that you need to get your idea to that next phase. We'll be happy to get you set up for success. So I'm going to put in the chat box a link to the Innovation Studio so you guys can learn a little bit more about it. But know that we're here and running and excited to be able to help you all out as you continue to work on these projects.
Yes.
Thank you, Tim. I think that it's wonderful that we can offer that as a resource, and you guys just do such amazing work. It's super cool that we get to partner with you and then continue to support everything that students are creating here well into the future. It's awesome.
And I'll just say, now's the time. We have a new medical dean. We have a new engineering dean. We have a new president. They're all very good at these types of projects. They're looking for students to help. So now's the time to ask for that help. I don't think you're ever going to see the planets align from an old-time academician. You're never going to see the planets align like they're aligning now at Ohio State. So you want to go for it. Now's the time. Or next week.
Yeah, you should always go for it. But like right now, it's going to be even more amazing. Like, go for it.
I'm going to go ahead and make a pitch for Show Ohio while we're at it. So some of these teams are are moving on into the innovation studio, perhaps for their next phase. And we also have teams who have come back from MakeOHio and are continuing on. So as you're starting to think about, is this maybe an idea for a business venture, and maybe I should be looking at the market for my future? We are accepting applications right now through Friday for Show Ohio. So find that on the Hack website, where we'll have a chance. It's a pretty selective, but we have a lot of opportunity to get students in there. There'll also be alumni pitching their ventures on Friday, April 9th. So come meet some angels and VCs and support groups such as legal aid and marketing support, and really the Columbus entrepreneurial community. Although now that we're online, it's going to be coast to coast. So we have some friends from the West Coast who will be joining us also on April 9th.
I just dropped the link for anybody who's interested in learning more about Show or applying because you're working on a really cool project and you'd like some extra support or the opportunity to present to angels and VCs and other people looking to actively support your project in the chat. So definitely check that out.
I see our MakeOHio student event lead, Josh Wang, has joined us.
Yay.
Hello, everyone. Michael, I think we're good to get started.
Ready to share the slides?
All right, let me throw up the slide deck and we will get going, is what I tried to say while I was still on mute.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. You finally made it. One whole weekend of pure adrenaline, pure innovation, and pure excitement. This is your showcase ceremony at MakeOHio 2021. Now, MakeOHio here is put on by our very own OHIO Club. Next slide, please. So OHIO, who are we? Well, like I said, the opening ceremony, we are a student org here at the Ohio State University that works on promising informal learning and helping foster the tech culture we have. We put on multiple events throughout the year, such as our hackathon and our makeathon. And not only is it just us putting on these events, but we also have partnered this year with the Electronics Club and BMES Society. So I would like to hand it over to Connor Beehite right now from the Electronics Club to give a small message.
Hi, everyone. I'm the Vice President of the Electronics Club, and I just wanted to take a little bit of time to rep the Electronics Club. So we're a student organization that emphasizes the importance of and aids in the building of students' electronics projects at OSU. So any projects that you may make at MakeOHio, if you want to tweak them or do special things with them, we have a crap ton of microcontrollers and components, a number of soldering irons, power supplies, oscilloscopes. This year, we've been hosting bi-weekly informational meetings over Zoom. So a variety of things like that. So I'm going to post a link to our website in the chat. So if you want to come to any of our meetings or kind of use those resources, you can go ahead and join our mailing list. If you go to the website, it should be at the top. In order to be an active member and use all of those fancy gadgets, you just need to come to 2 of our meetings. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Connor. I would also like to hand it over to our own Teddy Renner from BMES to give a small message about his club.
All right, so my club, it's the Biomedical Engineering Society at Ohio State. It is the main representation or club that represents undergraduate BME students at O2, but it's also open to just anyone who's interested in biomedical engineering. And so if you did complete one of the BioHack projects, or any of your projects are biomedically related in this event, you can feel free to check out our website and see more information about just how you could get involved in BMES and the different opportunities we give to people who are interested in this field. So I'm really happy how the event turned out this week and the collaboration, how many students ended up completing our challenges. So if you have any questions about BMES or anything at all, you just let me know, and I'll send the link of our website in the chat as well.
All right, thank you, Teddy. Now, if you loved MakeOHIO, we also have other events coming up. So first of all, we have High School I/O. Next slide, please. Can we get the next slide? All right, thank you. So for High School I/O, this is a hackathon that we put on targeted towards high school students. We really wanted to offer an opportunity for high school students around the Columbus area, but now they're online. This is also all of Ohio. For them to gain experience in the computer science field, to see what it's like to build projects with other excited students, with other passionate students, much like the people here at MakeOHIO. So if you would like an opportunity to help mentor or judge and would like to provide them the same experience you had today, please sign up. Our High School I/O will be in 2 weeks, that Saturday. Now, not only do we have High School I/O, but we have our annual Show Ohio event. This is an opportunity for students to connect with the tech community and show the incredible projects which you guys have built during this weekend and at our previous events. So definitely keep an eye out for the next spring as well. All right, next. Yep. So I bet you're all wondering what's going to happen during this showcase ceremony. Well, we're going to start by demoing the 2-minute videos submitted by our top 10 finalist teams. I know that all of you guys are super excited to see what everyone else has worked on. So we're also going to have a Q&A session where you guys can ask questions to these finalists. And then during that time, we'll also have our special panel of VIP judges here today determine who wins what. And then during that time, we're also going to be announcing the winners of our sponsor challenges. I know a lot of you participated, so I'm definitely excited to announce the winners there. And then finally, you guys will also get a poll later on, so you can vote for your favorite project amongst the top 10 for the Buckeye Choice Awards. So what are the Buckeye Choice Awards? Well, I will tell you on the next slide. So the Buckeye Choice Awards is your favorite project, you, the participants. So you will receive a poll during the Q&A session. And at that point, you can vote for your favorite project, and the team with the most votes wins the Buckeye Choice Recognition Award. So definitely keep an eye out for that poll and start voting, right? And finally, to kick off our showcase, we also have a very special message from our own Dean Howard. So I will just let this play for now.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Yana Howard, Dean of Engineering at The Ohio State University. So I want to say, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here at MakeOHIO. You didn't have to do it. You didn't have to be here. You didn't have to put in your passion and really work hard and strive to create beautiful, innovative, creative things. But you chose to. You chose to show up. You chose to be innovative. You chose to choose your own projects or reinvent the projects that were provided by sponsors. And I want to tell you, that is the sign of creativity and innovation, right? To do things that you don't actually have to do. To go forward and, it's not a grade for a test. It's not an assignment that a professor gave to you directly. These kind of events in MakeOHIO is about your passion. It comes from inside. And I want to thank you and welcome you to this event. And so if I think about the kinds of projects that you have and you're working on, I am a roboticist, and so the things that I think about are about making. It's about taking embedded devices. It's about taking programs and computer software and IoT and putting it together to solve real world problems. And so when you designed your solutions, when you thought about it, it wasn't because you're like, oh, I just want to make a new camera. There was a reason for it. And what I want to do is really implore you to always think about that. When you are thinking about your creativity, when you're thinking about your projects, when you're thinking about your classwork, think about the reasons for it. Think about what is your role in really ensuring that you are changing the world with your science and your engineering. And that's really what Make Ohio is about. It's about finding solutions, designing solutions for things that people actually care about. And so I want to thank you for coming and really leading into this. Now, I would be remiss if I did not say thank you to the sponsors, because one of the things is without the sponsors believing in you, believing in students, it would have been really, really hard to do something like this. And I'm just going to just, there's everyone from Microsoft to Honda to AEP to Texas Instruments to Caterpillar and Epson. They came and they believed that this was something of value. And one of the things is when companies think you are valuable, that also means that there's jobs. And so one of the things is, thank the sponsors, but also think about them strategically as a potential place that you can work, because they believe in students, they believe in engineering, they believe in the makeathon and the make culture. And so I want you to have fun, show off your thing, show off your talents, really explain what it is that you're doing and why you did it. And also I would implore that when you're talking about your gadgets and when you're talking about your inventions and when you're talking about your solutions, cast it in the why. Why should anyone actually care? You know why people should care, but as engineers and scientists, you need to be able to explain that to people who may not understand what you've designed. And so as you're talking about your embedded controllers and you're talking about your motors and you're talking about the cool lights that blink and all these aspects, always remember to talk about the value outside of engineering. And so I want to say thank you, enjoy, and have fun.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Dean Howard, for providing us this amazing video. Like she said, we're super excited to bring these events to you guys, and we're really thankful for everyone who has come. But now, this is the time that you have been waiting for, the demos for our top 10 finalists at Make Ohio. So I would like to gladly announce the first finalist that we have, Data Dudes. Okay, well, so for the Data Dudes, we have.
I can get to the video. Just give me a second.
Okay.
While she's doing that, Josh, I just want to say I'm feeling the energy you're bringing, man. Great job.
Thank you. I'm really hyped up after the weekend.
Good for you, Josh.
I'm just hoping I can energize everyone, because I know our participants have worked hard, and I know they're tired. And I know some may just want to sleep after pulling all-nighter. But I mean, hey, come on. Isn't that the spirit of a hackathon and makeathon? To just pull all-nighters, be super tired, but stare upon your golden project with pride.
I must say I missed the clock right now.
Oh, the clock, yes.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about Hack and Make.
You're
definitely
sitting in the
that.
E-Club offices, right, Connor? Yeah.
Yep, it's still sitting right outside. You get to see it every time.
I actually miss the pizza and the food. I get to put on weight during these things that I normally don't get to do.
All right, you guys ready for Data Dudes?
Yep.
Here we go.
Do it, dude.
News we consume day to day connects us to the world around us. According to research, the average American spends nearly 70 minutes a day taking in the news through various media platforms. However, news consumption is not always balanced. Research shows that media sources and their consumers have become more polarized than ever before. Almost every news source has some sort of bias, and unfortunately, some distort reality by presenting emotionally charged or untrue information as fact. A wise consumer should consume reliable news sources from all areas of the spectrum in order to develop an informed understanding. Truly is a one-of-a-kind, free, and open service that will make you an informed news consumer by connecting you to unbiased and truthful news. By subscribing to Truly, you will receive a daily email newsletter that will highlight the 5 most meaningful news stories, with the title that has the most neutral attitude. Clicking on the news headline will redirect you to our website, trulynews.com, that we coded by utilizing Flask and HTML. The website will give you access to the same news report from several sources along the entire spectrum of media biases, so you can consume balanced news. What truly makes Truly unique is that it will provide you with a quantitative analysis of each news topic and article. Using natural language processing algorithms, Truly analyzes the key topics, sentiment, and percent similarity of each article. We know how busy you are and understand how reading the news can often be a hassle, so the key topic words for each news article will allow the consumer to determine the subject of the news story at a quick glance. 2 differently biased articles may present the same news story, but with completely different attitudes. The sentiment metric will be scored from -1 to +1, informing the consumer whether the article has a positive, neutral, or negative attitude towards the story. And finally, the percent similarity is a metric that informs the consumer about how similar the article they are reading is to the rest of the articles along the spectrum. If one article differs significantly from other articles, you will know to be cautious if you so choose to read that article. By providing you with quantifiable data on the news you consume, Truly will support you on your way to becoming a responsible and an informed citizen of the world around you. Over these long 42 hours, our team became well acquainted with natural language processing algorithms such as TF-IDF, cosine similarity, and sentiment analysis. We also coded our first website using HTML and Flask and used SMTP to create an email service for our newsletter. We faced many challenges throughout the day, including HTML formatting, using RESTful API to query desired data, developing metrics to define the credibility of news, all while trying not to lose our minds. If we had more time for the project, we would have wanted to make the website public and have people test out our service so we could optimize the user experience. We would have also wanted to develop more metrics for analyzing credibility. While we faced many obstacles, by leveraging each other's strengths and working efficiently, our team was able to make a project that we are proud of and believe can make a difference.
Hey, thank you very much, DataDs, for the presentation. Next up, we have Team Fine Fellows.
A third-year statistics and physics major. I'm Isaac Zachman. I'm a third-year electrical and computer engineering major.
Hi, I'm Sylvia, and I'm a third-year mechanical engineering major.
Hi, I'm Colin, and I'm a third-year operations management major.
And we are the Fine Fellows.
Go.
Here I am at Giant Eagle, and I'm going to check into the Vital kiosk using my RFID.
So first, he's going to scan using our RFID scanner and display stuff on our LCD screen. And then next is going to ask him to take his temperature. He's going to use our temperature sensor that we have here. And you can see he's 92 degrees. And then next is going to ask him to stand on our scale, which we're just using a force sensor for this here as our demo.
90.
And then next, we have our breathalyzer test. So he's gonna blow into our little sensor that we have over here. And as you can see, he had no alcohol detected. And then finally, we have a speed test at the end just to test his reaction time. And for this, we use the Texas Instrument lipstick component. Yeah, as you can see, that was his reaction time there. And then at the end, all this data is sent using our Arduino Mega combined with the Wi-Fi module to our website for our doctors.
Our website is hosted on this Raspberry Pi where all the data gets sent and plots are generated.
Hi, I'm Colin's doctor. I'm going to view his statistics here. So he's taken the test 3 times. His temperature has gone down. His force and weight has fluctuated. His gas readings have gone down, and his reaction time has also fluctuated. So I think he's in good health.
All right, thank you, fine fellows. Now, at this time, I'd also like to ask if the VIPs had any questions for either Team Fine Fellows or the previous team, Team Data Dudes.
I'm going to ask one question. I heard the lipstick component mentioned for the speed test. Can one person from that team answer how that was done and what it was testing?
Seems we have someone from the team raising their hand.
Hello, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, we tried to use the lipstick a few different ways to get sensor readings off of it, but we had a lot of struggles with that. So we ended up kind of just using it for its different buttons and then reading those buttons into the Arduino and using that for our kind of speed test.
Thank
All right, do we have any other questions for either of these two teams? If not, then I would like to introduce our next finalist, Team Glasses to See.
Hi, I'm Clark Van Leeshout, a 3rd-year statistics and
And I am Oscar Bosley, and we are Glasses to C#, and we're presenting our project called Kronos.
So our main goal of this project was to help people who are neurodivergent, which means that they either have ADHD, autism, dyslexia, or dyspraxia, I think it's called. But basically, people with autism and ADHD, they tend to experience a thing called time blindness, where they're aware of what time it is in the day, but they're not aware of how much time is passing. So with our project, we're able to
so our main goal of the project is to give people a gentle reminder every now and then to make sure that they're keeping up with their tasks, and it's just like a constant reminder they can set things in order to keep them focused. So what we did is we have this little Bluetooth device here that makes some vibrations and beeps and whatnot. It's connected up to this website right here. So what I can do here is I can say I'd like a reminder using light, sound, and vibration. I'd say every 1 minute, and then today is Sunday. Let's start at 10:57 because that is the time right now. Go for an hour. We can go ahead and start, and it gives us this little handy little code here. I go ahead, copy that, throw that into my Bluetooth terminal, and I go ahead send that to the device. And then here, any second, you will see this guy in action. Do some vibrating,
And also, while we're waiting on that, another good thing about our project is that we have it so people can switch between dark mode and light mode, because some people with autism are more sensitive to certain lights or colors. We also have on our thing a playground page, where basically it's just a bunch of like fidget toys where they can click and just kind of get that nervous energy out when they don't have an actual fidget toy to have.
It's not doing it. We don't have time to do another take. Trust us, it does do a thing.
Interesting end there. So do the VIP judges have any questions for Glasses to See? Going once, going twice.
No, I do see a hand raised.
Oscar? You're unmuted. Would you like to say something?
Oh, I just want to say I was one of the members on the project. I would like to note that the device did actually eventually work. The timing that we had for the input that we had, given our Bluetooth device, our real-time clock was slightly off when we inputted the time for the start time for the alarm, and so our time in real time was like later than the clock time, and it ended up being about 2 minutes late. And we had about 3 minutes to submit, and that's why you didn't get to see it, unfortunately.
Thank you for your input. So then up next, I would also like to introduce Team It's Electric.
And I am Oscar Bosley.
Hi, and welcome to our project for MakeAthon 2021. For our project, we made a smart hard hat solution that monitors a user's health and safety with a variety of sensors and reports them to management in the case of an accident or incident. We used a voltage detection antenna for high voltage power lines or dangerous equipment, a microphone sensor to alert the user when they enter a high voltage area, a UV sensor to alert them when they enter high UV areas like direct sunlight for long periods of time. We have a light array to alert surrounding people if the person has an accident or falls down, as well as a buzzer to make it easier to find them in the event of an emergency. Most importantly, we have a heads-up display that displays some of this information to the user.
We have an accelerometer mounted on the helmet. We are using a excessive change in, or excessive acceleration to kind of sense a fall. So that would be a fall, and then we have a buzzer, and then these lights. That fall setting is then disabled by pressing a button, and then that would also send an event.
You can also manually fall if the sensor doesn't detect it by hitting the 1 button, and it will trigger in the same way and send out a request to our backend API and cancel it with the same button. Lastly, we have a temperature and humidity sensor to monitor the surrounding environment and potentially warn the user that they may need to continue hydrating if the air is really dry or if the temperature is very high for prolonged periods of time.
All right, thank you very much. It's Electric. So at this point, once again, any questions for the team? Going once, going twice.
I have a quick question.
Oh, yeah.
So for It's Electric, did you incorporate any way for the hard hat to be able to tell if it's on a human? So if the person drops it on their desk or puts it in the back of their car, it doesn't send a signal?
Hi, and welcome to our project for MakeAthon 20.
If you're with It's Electric, we need you to raise your hand. There we go, so that I can unmute you. Awesome.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah, so
You're on the air, John.
Thank you. We were working on that with a blood oxygen sensor to measure your pulse, and it also senses your skin basically, so it can tell if it's on your head or not. That sensor was a little finicky. We think we got like a bad batch, but that was something that we were working on and would be pretty easy to add on to the project as an expansion to it.
All right. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
And then any other questions? Going once? Going twice? All right. Up next, we have JSG Industries.
All right, we are JSG Industries, and this is our project for MakeOHIO. So the problem we're trying to tackle here is fighting drowsiness and trying to measure alertness. Here are some of the specifications of the project that we are going for and things we're trying to accomplish. Fatigue factors into 13% of all workplace injuries and 20% of all crashes. So we developed Wake.
What is the design we kind of went about? So this is our CAD, and here's kind of one of the actual implementations. So hardware. Raspberry Pi 0W. It includes a ribbon cable slot for a camera, wireless connection, and some additional pins for other devices. There's 2 other devices that we use for this, a camera and a time of flight.
So residents in America are expected to spend up to 80 hours a week in the hospital. And these long hours can be very detrimental to the worker. And so we have to make sure that this device lasts as long as we need it to. And we calculated 12 hours for this battery pack, which would be pretty good.
So with regards to the software, we developed a proximity recognition algorithm utilizing the VL6180X library in conjunction with the LiDAR sensor. We utilized the MJPG streamer and IP camera adapter, which allows us to take input for the CV2 model so that we can connect it with our TensorFlow and OpenCV machine learning model.
So moving forward, we have this bill of materials, and if you see the cost there, if we optimize it, we can reduce it down $50. So here's our demo.
So basically, this camera right here is looking at my eye, and it's detecting my blinks and calculating my blink rate. So right now, nothing's happening because my blink rate's normal because I'm alert. But if I just kind of artificially increase my blink rate here, or like, slow my blinks down, we'll see that hopefully. Yeah, so it buzzes there to let me know that I am lacking alertness. Here's a short clip of what our AI sees as we attach it to a different camera and set it up.
And I guess it was all. So, questions for Team JSG Industries? Going once.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Raderstorff. Nice work. I had a question for you about the stat used about Americans are expected to spend 80 hours in a hospital a week. Can you clarify? I think you may have misspoke there. I was just trying to quantify what the thought process was there.
And then Gary, looks like you're unmuted.
Gary, son, you should be unmuted. You might want to check your mic.
Hello?
There you go.
You guys can hear me? We're good?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So the thought process is that we were looking at some articles regarding, the how many hours that nurses and people working in healthcare spend. And the reasoning for that is that we needed to determine our battery level, or the amount that our battery can last. So we used a power bank to actually power the entire device, and we calculated that using the specification, the power consumption, it would give us, I believe it was like 10 hours. And 10 hours for a day, we thought was reasonable for people working in healthcare. So that was why we included that stat. Okay.
Thank you for clarifying. Just as a quick feedback there, the average shift is 12 hours for nurses. So just as you look to build and quantify out, that'd be something to be aware of.
Yeah, so I believe the 80 was mentioned for a whole week is from the article. Yeah, 80 hours a week.
All right, thank you very much. Last call for questions. Right, sounds like there's none. So then next we have Team NES.
Hey there, my name is Ethan, representing Team 17 NES for MakeOHIO 2021. We're participating in Honda's In-Vehicle Health Challenge. We're excited to show you what we made this weekend, and so here's some videos of what we made. After some research on bacterial densities on car surfaces, we found that the steering wheel has one of the highest densities, ranging from 700 to 1,000 bacteria per 10 square centimeters. We thought this would be a great place to focus our attention. We designed a compact, non-intrusive UV sanitizer that would automatically sanitize your steering wheel when entering or exiting your vehicle.
In partnership with the UV light machine, we decided to make an automatic hand sanitizer dispenser. If someone puts their hand over the ultrasound sensor, it sends a signal to Arduino, which triggers a servo motor that pushes the hand sanitizer bottle down, dispensing a droplet of hand sanitizer. In addition, there's also an LCD screen displaying the sequence for for hand sanitizer.
This project was that when it was originally 3D printed, some of the measurements came out incorrectly. So as a result, we had to find new ways to mount all of our parts on the housing.
If we had more time, we would want to design flanges to help prevent the UV rays from escaping, as well as redesigning it to be rated for seatbelts as well.
All right then. So can I ask any questions for Team Ness? Going once, going twice. Okay then, let's move on to the 7th finalist, Team Pi equals 9.
100,000 people die every year in the United States due to hospital infections. Many of these could be prevented with proper hand hygiene. Currently, hand washing initiatives in ICUs have not yet reached the goal of 95% compliance to health guidelines. The SudBud device is a friendly alert system to promote proper hand hygiene. This ICU hand washing recognition system combines practical visual alerts with Wi-Fi tracking of hospital-wide hand washing compliance in a compact and easy to implement system. The SudBud employs the use of an ultrasonic sensor to detect movements around the sink. The LED ring then flashes white as a reminder to wash hands when entering and leaving the room. The LCD screen also outputs a reminder to wash and when the sink valve is turned on. In this case, with a foot pedal, the LED ring will begin timing the hand washing and reach fully green when 20 seconds has passed, which is the CDC recommended minimum. This will result in a cycle completion signal that gets sent via Wi-Fi to a back-end server. If the sink is turned off within 20 seconds, the LEDs flash red and a fail signal is sent to the server. In the back end, data is processed and will be displayed on a web page to track overall compliance trends.
All right. Thank you, Team Pi equals 9. So, any questions?
So I have a quick practical question. How do you stop someone from just running the sink and not washing their hands? So they wash their hands, they start drying them while the sink's running, and then they just fool the system. So not that I've done that.
Hi, I'm Jacob. I'm from Pikel's 9. I guess, I mean, we had it set for 20 seconds, right? That's the CDC recommendation. I think that'd be a long time to stand there and fake the system. So I don't think, hopefully people wouldn't actually do that, but definitely something to consider.
All right. Thank you, Jacob. I agree. I don't know anyone who would just stand there for 20 seconds by a sink staring. Anyways,
yeah.
You can't make me wash my hands. I don't wanna.
I feel like if someone did that, they'd have a bit more problems than not washing their hands. But if no one else has any questions, the next team I'd like to introduce is Punjabi Wasabi.
Our project was to create an adaptive mouse that can be comfortably used by someone who has limited hand dexterity. They don't have to sacrifice their comfort for their work. This project has good health applications. Existing mouses require the user to grip the mouse while having small buttons that need fine hand control. This project can be utilized by amputees or people who have carpal tunnel. This project utilizes sonar sensors to detect the location of the hand, passing this into the Arduino and controlling the computer with this. This project has a capability to move the mouse up, down, left, and right, as well as click. You can scroll up and down with the joystick, so the user doesn't need to use two-finger scrolling or the wheel to strain their wrist. With the additional use of a button, we can drag and also right-click, giving the user the opportunity to do almost anything a mouse can do. primary click switch is a large button so that it does not require precise movements. The parts of this setup can be moved around to fit the user's various health conditions. The most challenging part of this project was trying to fit all the functionality of a mouse into a clean, simple to use project. Another challenge was the lag the mouse is experiencing, so we rewrote the code and reduced hardware to improve the speed. We were proud to brainstorm, design, and construct this working product that has large health applications in 24 hours. Here you can see my friend actually use the mouse. The product is responsive enough so that he can dodge incoming enemies.
All right, thank you, Punjabi Wasabi. So do our VIP panelists and judges have any questions for them? Going once, going twice. All right then. Next team, we have Team Soccerades.
According to the 2020 U.S. Census, over 5.5 million people use a wheelchair for mobility. In 2003, over 100,000 wheelchair accidents were treated in hospitals all across the U.S. Today, this number may even be higher. These wheelchair accidents are pretty common and can usually be prevented. The goal of our project is to prevent some of the common accidents that can happen while you're in a wheelchair. We implemented a program to both prevent collisions from the front as well as speeding too much on a steep downward slope. By slowing down the wheelchair's wheels using a braking system, we also created an alert system combining visual, auditory, and tactical feedback with different levels of intensity proportional to the severity of the situation.
We worked together better than we thought. Since everyone in the group had a different major and background, we would constantly come across entirely new ideas, but looking at the project from different angles. We came together with a business student as a manager, the mathematician to figure out angles of the accelerometer and gyroscope, biochem and CIS using their coding experience to run the program, and finally the MakeOHI fixing whatever issues came up with our wiring and mechanical components on the spot. Only one person on our team has any engineering experience, and only one has any formal coding experience. So most of what we learned during these 48 hours was learned on the fly. Many technical issues, including catching on fire, ensued. One of our major setbacks was fluctuation in the IR sensor, so we could never give the IR sensor's data to stabilize. We don't know why it wasn't constant, and we could never set thresholds for something in front of it. When the IR sensor's output would drop below the threshold, it would cause the braking system to operate, even without a stimulus to activate it. Ideally, we would have settings for different levels of sensitivity, since wheelchairs are in many different situations than just a simplified version we gave, and obviously the chair needs to respond accordingly. We also need more sensors all around the chair, instead of just the front, since people and objects can come from all angles. Remember, one death or accidental injury from a wheelchair is one too many.
All right, thank you. I am a big fan of the Jingle Bells jingle on the project. I'm also very curious as to how the breadboard caught on fire. But other than that, do our VIP judges have any thoughts? Any questions?
Yeah, so this is Dr. Metzler. I would just want to say this is a very real world problem. So I work in rehabilitation engineering and accessible technology, and you all would be really interested, I think, to check out. There's a design called Lucy, which is spelled Luci, which is, we're actually doing some beta testing on it over at the Assistive Technology Center over at Martha Morehouse, and it incorporates some of these. So you guys should go online, and if you just like Google Lucy, Luci, wheelchair sensor, you'll see something very similar. So good job, yeah, real need.
Thank you very much, Dr. Metzler. Any other questions or concerns? If not, then last but not least, for our finalists is Team Tinkerers.
Hi, this is the Tinkerers, and we made the Roadster. How it works is it has passive collision detection system, where if it gets too close on the left side, on either the side or the two legs, the left LED will blink. If you get too close behind you, both LEDs flash and a buzzer. And if anything gets too close to the right side, the right LED blinks. And if the sound is getting too much for you, or the lights, you can activate Do Not Disturb. And the lights and the buzzer will not activate, but you can still alert any passerbys.
While designing and building the passive collision detection system, aka the Roadster, we encountered several roadblocks. The first and most significant was incorporating 2 LED outputs, a speaker, the Do Not Disturb switch, the horn button, and 7 ultrasonic sensors all integrated into one Arduino board. Initially, we struggled to find enough digital input-output pins on the Arduino to incorporate the 18 pins required. To overcome this, we wired 3 of the ultrasonic sensors to the analog inputs and rewrote the RX-TX serial pins to act as outputs for the LEDs. By combining what we learned while debugging our code and our knowledge of circuits, the team was able to figure out how to add 2 new features, the Do Not Disturb switch and the horn, thereby lowering the number of potential common wheelchair collisions. In the future, we plan to add a vibration feedback system on each armrest, a rear-view camera with live video feed, and an active collision prevention system using accelerometers and motors to move the chair away from potential collisions autonomously.
Thank you very much, Team Tinkers. And then finally, any questions? Any comments? All right then. So then our next section will be the Q&A section for all of our attendees. And at this time, our VIP judges will also move into the discussion room to discuss which of these top 10 finalists should win what award.
We'll be back as soon as we can.
So while that's going on, we'll have our general Q&A session with all the attendees. The way this is going to work is, yes, if you have a question, please raise your hand in the webinar and an organizer will say your name and unmute you to ask your question. Also, please state which team your question is for. And then after they ask their question, teams, we ask that you please raise your hand in the chat so that we can also unmute you to answer the question. So to start, if anyone has any questions, please type it out or please raise your hand. I see one hand raised from Nick Showman.
Hello.
Yep. Hi, Nick.
I had a question for the team that built the mouse.
Okay.
Is the mouse able to right click?
Then I believe.
Yeah, hi. We're Punjabi Wasabi. We made the mouse. Yeah, it actually is able to right click because we have just a little bit of a button set up to the side. If you toggle the joystick to the right, it'll enable right clicking. If you toggle it back to the left, it'll enable left clicking. We can also scroll and drag and things like that. So it can do anything like a regular mouse can do, just it's not as intensive for like people who aren't as dexterous, and it doesn't require like fine finger movements, things like that.
Thank you.
And it also seems like Lewis has a question.
Nice.
Yeah, hi there. This question was in the chat, but I also had the same question, so I figured I'd read it out loud and see what's going on. The question was, how did you transform the device's input from the mouse input to the laptop? Did you have like a driver or something for the device? What did that look like and how did that work?
Yeah, so we utilized Arduino's mouse functions that can control the mouse, and it has a built-in like click and mouse move, things like that. But with the Arduino that we had, it wasn't compatible, so we had to get a new Arduino. But yeah, it lets you move the mouse in certain directions, but we had to refactor the code so we can click and drag and stuff like that.
Awesome, thank you.
All right then. while we wait for our next question to stream in, I think it'd be a good time to open up the Buckeye Choice Award poll so that everyone can start voting. Then while we get that set up, does anyone have any further questions for our top 10 finalists? Perhaps any general questions?
Can the panelists ask questions?
Of course.
So I have a question for the team that did the Wake project. So first, here's a riddle. Why do project engineers that work with AI not turn in resumes when they apply for a job? And the answer is they let the project speak for themselves. So what I was wondering, in your project, did you consider having the AI system talk to the person that's trying to stay awake? Like, wake up, wake up, or anything like that?
Looks like Gary's son has an answer.
Yeah, so kind of our future ideas for this project, where we wanted to create some sort of dashboard where we could plot your blink rate basically in real time, and it would send you notifications when your blink rate increased, which would mean that you were lacking alertness. But as right now, all we had was the buzzer set up. We also
another thing is that a big issue is that, like, how do you know that you're drowsy? Most people just, like, they're working on something, and I mean, if you're drowsy, you'd wake yourself up, but most people don't do that. They just keep going on and on working, and then they just fall asleep at the end. So here we want to detect signs of drowsiness, wake you up so that know, like, hey, oh, I'm feeling drowsy, I might fall asleep.
Yeah, I'll just say, if anybody's ever driven on a long trip, this is something that you fight with, and you'd be surprised how susceptible you are to dozing off and then waking up and, oh my God, I almost crashed, right? So it's a good thing.
Yeah. We had also thought of like use cases like that, basically where instead of glasses, it was kind of like integrated into a car dashboard basically, and was just watching you. And then like your dashboard on your car could give you some sort of feedback to tell you to wake up or pull over and rest or something like that.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Bivik, for the question. Thank you very much, Gary, for an answer. So it looks like the poll is currently published, so please make sure to vote for your favorite project. Once again, the highest voted project will win our Buckeye Choice Recognition Award. And it looks like we've got 45 out of 64, with Punjabi Wasabi leading the pack, and It's Electric coming in close second. So it looks like Gary also has a question there, perhaps? And then looks like his hand was lowered. All right, we'll wait for the poll to conclude. Does anyone else have any other questions? We saw some very interesting projects today, so I'm sure there's a lot of curious tidbits that you guys can bring up. If not, then our next point, oh, go ahead. Oh, never mind.
We're going to close the poll in about 30 seconds. We have 57 of 59 voters. Almost we hit 59. This is your last chance for the few of you out there who are still thinking. I know it's a very tough decision. We got one last person who's still thinking. We're at 58 of 59. All right, going once, going twice. This is your last chance to vote. 59, wherever you are, this is it. And I'm gonna end the poll. Okay. So it looks like our winner is It's Electric with 24%, 14 votes. You guys are the Buckeye choice this year. Yay!
Congratulations, It's Electric. And then at this time, I also like to invite Chris and both Nate to join the VIP discussion. I believe they've started in the other Zoom link provided in your guys' chat. So just make sure to pop in there and then help further the conversation. While that goes on, I'd also like to say we've got a very special keynote presentation from Beth Pan from Microsoft. So I hand off to Beth, and we'll also get the slides up here shortly.
Sounds good. Thank you.
There you go, Beth. Do you need anything else from us?
Nope. I think I can go ahead and get started while we're waiting for the final results of all the awards, right? So I just want to say again, thank you so much for everybody who organized this event and for all the participants who participated in this hackathon over the weekend. I hope you guys all had as much fun working on the projects as we did, learning and growing together as a community during this weekend. So I've talked with my colleagues who are mentors during the event. They said, please continue to work on your projects as we're so impressed with what you've achieved, and we're excited to see the projects become mature, and hopefully this can help you in your future interviews and career opportunities. And it is just super cool to see the serious effort that put into this learning of the new technologies in both in hardware and software, and your significant growth of skills and know-how over such a short amount of time. So Microsoft is glad to be part of this culture, and we want to continue to support and grow with you all. So a couple, I guess, to-do items, definitely check out the future MakeOHio events, and more importantly, check out the internships and job opportunities coming from Microsoft. If you follow our news closely, you would see that Microsoft just recently announced, this is the last week, Microsoft Mesh, that powers shared experiences in mixed reality, and we are transforming with the context of the world, improving our hardware such as HoloLens, service devices, dual screen devices, as well as our cloud computing, productivity, and software platform and services offerings to empower every person in every organization on the planet to achieve more. That is our goal. So you can find our jobs and internship opportunities at careers.microsoft.com/students. And you can also filter by keywords such as, no matter if you want to build hardware or software or general business opportunities with us. And last but not least, I want to give a special shout out to Kate and Hernan, who represented Microsoft during this event as mentors and judges. And from all of us at Microsoft, we hope to hear from you soon.
Yeah, thank you, Beth. And guys, definitely make sure to check out those job opportunities. And also, once again, like she said, thank you to the mentors and judges from Microsoft. Thank you all our mentors and judges. You guys made this event really great. It flowed really smoothly. So speaking of sponsors, it is now time for our sponsor challenge representatives to announce their winners. So first up, I'd like to invite Eric Bauer to announce the Honda Challenge winner.
Hey there. Hey, awesome job. Just like Beth said, you guys did a fantastic job this weekend. And I think probably my favorite part of this is honestly being able to see all of these 2-minute demos that you've worked on. I think it's a real unique quality of having a virtual event this time where, you know, I might only be able to judge some of the teams, but I want to see all of the amazing stuff you work on. So great job, OHIO, for organizing this and, you know, figuring out how to make that possible. But, you know, real hats off, like Dr. Bibick said, to all of you guys for making this happen. When we judged our particular sponsor challenge, we had a really tough time choosing between, you know, who's going to actually win this. So we thank everyone who participated in that. You did an amazing job as well. For us, JSG Industries stood out for kind of the technical challenge that they tackled. They went from a mechanical engineering standpoint to the electrical, the software, and even the AI side of things all in a weekend, which was really impressive to us. We also like the roadmap for the future and kind of some of the future things that they want to work on. And we really think that it has a lot of runway here at Honda, as well as, you know, for many other folks who really just need to stay awake to be safe. So great job, JSG Industries, and fantastic work. We hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.
Thank you to Eric and Honor for coming to our event. So next, I would also like to bring on Wiley Elliott to introduce their AEP Challenge winner.
So thank you. I'm Wiley Elliott from AEP, and we've participated a number of years now, and really we all very much enjoy the opportunity to be involved. I'd also like to say I think OSU, you did a great job with, you know, a maker event, making it virtual, because, you know, a lot of this is really being to see the gadgets, touch them, do the 3D, but I think it all went off pretty well this year. So thank you. So our challenge really with the medical theme this year lined up very well with AEP's, you know, our safety and health goals and protecting our frontline workers and thinking of new ideas and things to improve that. So our challenge was all around building devices that a frontline or a lone worker could use that would make them safer, much more aware of their environment and risks, and then be able to take actions before there's, you know, an event. So It's Electric built a series of devices and sensors that could be mounted on a hard hat that would let a worker know about his environment and give him relevant information. And specifically what impressed us with it is they built a voltage sensor pretty much from scratch to let a worker know if they were around energized lines or equipment. And then they also integrate in a heads-up display. And both those things with all the other sensors we suggested really impressed us. And then I'd like to say that the other teams that we judged also did an excellent job as well. One team really had a good deep data analytics approach with evaluating sort of all the data coming in and then being able to set up meaningful values and alarms. And then the other team had some very good software type approaches to things. So, but again, thanks to all the teams and especially to the It's Electric team.
Thank you, Wiley. Thank you, AEP, also for coming here, making this event great. Now, next, I would like to bring on Dr. Bibick for the CMEI Challenge winners.
So, we're gonna do first place first. Okay, so first place, drum roll please. Fine Fellows. So Fine Fellows were the ones who did the kiosk in the Kroger or the Whole Foods or whoever, and they won it because these sensors are not the ones that you would actually use. You can look up online and look up blood pressure Bluetooth and oxygen sensor Bluetooth. These are all online products that you can find. So they put together the system. They're fine folks, I would call them, right? So, and congratulations for winning first place. And thank you for working on this. Just a real quick comment on Dean Howard's, you did this on your own. Next week, I'm about to give a bunch of exams. And after I have students take the exams, I don't really feel better. Maybe I should give better exams. But after I see these projects, I always sleep better knowing that the world's going to be better off because of what you're able to build. So I wish we could give you grades on this, but we're just going to give you some cash cards. So congratulations. And then next, so we should have a second place there. There we are. So speaking of sleeping better, Chemical Clarinets developed a sleep monitoring system, you know, for those of us who need to get tested in our sleeping. But they added extra sensors and actually designed some of their own breathing sensors. So they could pivot their project to more general medicine, but they wisely chose a place to start. So congratulations, Chemical Clarinets. And then there's a third team that's not listed. I'll give a shout out to Shark Weekend. They were the most technically skilled, but not diverse enough, all engineers. And so that just goes to show sometimes you need a diversity of groups to see how things could come forward. So thank you very much. And CMEI is a new center. As I mentioned, we have a new dean in medicine. We have a new dean in engineering. We have a new center that's bringing those two together. So please work at that. And thanks to Innovation Studio for actually pulling the meeting together where this idea came together.
Thank you, Dr. Bivik. And then next, I'd also like to introduce, once again, Teddy Renner to talk about the BioHack Challenge winners.
All right, so the first place winner, so this goes in order from first to third place for the first wheelchair obstacle challenge. I first of all was very excited to see just how many people and how many groups tackled all the BioHack challenges. It was a great turnout, and I was happy to see just how many people were interested in our challenges. So thank you for everyone who participated. But in all the challenges, they ended up turning out better than turned out very well. And so the winner was the Socrates, second place Tinkerers, and then third place Maximum Impedance. And so Socrates, we were very impressed with just how the technical difficulty of it, including the braking system and also the multi-major and how many different majors you guys brought together to provide a great presentation. And then the other two groups were very impressive as well. But and so you guys all did a great job with the implementing different systems to prevent wheelchair obstacle collisions. So thank you guys for participating. Next.
And that's impedance. Maximum impedance is another problem.
Oh, sorry, impedance. You go next, Josh.
Yeah, Cal, can you?
Okay. And then for the ICU hand washing, so again, great job everyone who participated. So the pi equals 9 felt it had the most polished design and best interface and just the way it worked. And so, but thank you all to the other two groups who did a great job implementing various ways to tackle the safety in hospitals and improve overall health of any patients in hospitals. So hopefully all these designs will be able to continue on and work with Innovation Studio later on to further develop their product and potentially be able to market it someday to just improve hospitals safety in general. And so second place was Blubber Bread Annihilation Drill group, and third place was the Engineering Gals group. And so you guys will all be getting different gift cards of your choice or Amazon gift cards for completing and winning our project. So thank you guys.
All right, thank you everyone. And then next, I'd also like to deliver a message to all our sponsors. And then Cal, after this, we can just keep it on the slide. So as Dean Howard said, this event would not be possible without our sponsors. So I would like to personally give my thanks to every single sponsor of MakeOHio. Thank you for supporting our programs. But most importantly, I want to thank you for pushing students to innovate, for encouraging them to utilize their creativity and their passion, especially during this pandemic. I know it's been hard, but we've seen some absolutely amazing projects come out. And I'm so excited for all of these projects, hopefully, to return during our future event, Show Ohio. So once again, thank you sponsors for making this what it is. And at this time, I'd also like to just chill here while our VIPs finish up their important decisions regarding our winners. And in the meantime, I can also talk about what we used to judge the projects and determine the winners. So real quick, we have 5 different criteria that we use to judge teams. And that's technical difficulty, creativity, impact, polish, and wow factor. We understand that projects should have an importance. They should seek to solve something when you start creating it out. So we wanted to place an emphasis on impact. You know, does the project have real world impact? Does it seek to solve some important problem you've identified? And not only should you seek to solve important problems, but you should go about them in a creative way. You should try to innovate. You should try to push the boundaries. So we also want to score creativity. And then along with this, we want to score wow factor. You know, does this project make you excited? Does it fascinate you? Is there something special about it? And then finally, we have technical difficulty and polish. So this is regards to the execution throughout the weekend. So technical difficulty is how complex, difficult were the knowledge, the skills needed to implement the project, you know, how advanced were the techniques that you used. And then polish was how finished was the project. Obviously, we're very understanding that it's only a weekend, so you cannot fully complete a project. In fact, most people are just getting started. So, but we still want to place a greater importance on those who are able to run with their ideas in an efficient manner and get a polished product. So while we wait for the VIP judges to come back into the main, we can just relax and take questions. It seems one person has their hand raised still. I don't know if they want to ask a question. Matthew Schellenberger. It seems not. So I guess, Cal, we can just put on music and then relax while we get the decisions in. All right, it seems like we have our VIP, most of our VIP judges coming back. Are we good to go, Julia? Seems like we are good to go.
We are all here.
So when we get the slides back up, what I'll do is I'll introduce our VIP judge who will be announcing their respective award category, and then I'll hand it off to them to announce it. Yep. So first off, we have Dr. Metzler here, who will be announcing our best new to make.
Thanks, Josh. All right, well, I'm very excited to announce conveniently a project that's near and dear to my heart as something that I do. I am a professor in mechanical and aerospace engineering, but I also do a lot of collaboration with the folks over at the med school doing a lot of rehabilitation engineering and assistive technology. So I was really thrilled to see so many options in that category, and the best new to make group of the tinkerers. I thought it was really great. Again, you know, you and the securities both, I was really thrilled to see the emphasis on wheelchairs and wheeled mobility. And I thought particularly for a group that was so new, you guys did a great job. And I also thought you did a great job with your video, kind of showing us around and giving us the view from the chair of what was going on. So good job, tinkerers.
Thank you very much, Dr. Messer. So next, I would like to introduce Tim Raderstorff, who will be announcing our best bio-related category.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. This is my fourth make now, I think. So pretty excited to be back. You know, as I mentioned earlier on, I run the innovation studios. So we'd love to have you all who are working on projects. If you want to continue to work on these projects or start new ones, the innovation studio is here to help you get your ideas off the ground. So we hope that Punjabi Wasabi will continue to work with us at the innovation studio with their new mouse. We thought that there was a lot of commercial applicability for this, something that could move on and impact people at a large scale. So appreciate the work that you went into getting your prototype up and running. And we think as you continue to work out the bugs, you'll be able to create something great. So congratulations, Team Punjabi Wasabi.
Thank you, Tim. Definitely make sure to check out Innovation Studio. They're a great resource here at OSU. And next, I'd also like to introduce Chris Atkinson, who will be announcing our most impactful category.
Good afternoon, everybody. Chris Atkinson. I'm a professor of mechanical and aerospace engineering and director of OSU's Smart Mobility Initiative. Pi equals 9 clearly wasn't a mobility-related project, but we believe it's the most impactful of all the projects. Hand washing in hospitals is remarkably critical, and the pandemic over the last year has only made it more so. It's been an issue for the last 100 years or more. Getting people to wash their hands, getting them to wash them correctly and for a suitable length of time is remarkably important. You know, there's a very thin line between us and succumbing to sepsis or septicemia. So hand washing is extraordinarily important. We really like pi equals 9. We're a bit confused as to the name. I always thought that it was pi r squared, but we think that it's very impactful, and we urge you to continue with the development of your project. And congratulations to everybody. It's a wonderful sunny day in Columbus, and you've spent it all indoors working hard on your projects. We greatly appreciate that. Excellent. Well done, pi equals 9. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And then up next, we have Sean Milner-Muller for most original category.
So I'm awarding the most original to NES. My research background is actually in automotive and mobility. So again, it's pretty clear there's a lot of disruption going in there right now with the advent of autonomous vehicles and really new business models around shared mobility. And when you combine that with you know, the awareness now of a global pandemic, I think products like you guys developed are very important. And we thought that, again, amongst the competitors that we saw, very original. It was a novel idea. And again, also a very idea that's very relevant. So congratulations on your performance.
Thank you, Sean. And then finally, our next VIP judge, Nate Ames, will be announcing most technically difficult.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate being here. This was excellent. We're awarding most technically difficult to JSG Industries. This was for their wake sensor, which was presented as an alert system for healthcare workers who spend long hours in the hospital. I'd like to say that one of the big value propositions that I see for this technology is that it goes well beyond that. This could be used anywhere it could be used easily anywhere that the user wears safety glasses, hard hat, bump stop, any of those things. So forklift operators, construction workers, I think it's a great idea. I hope you continue to pursue it. And I think there's a multitude of industries and applications where this idea could be used. Good job, guys.
Thank you very much, Nate. And then for the next award, third place, I will be the one to announce. So our third place winners are Data Dudes with Amazon Echo as a prize. Really great projects come out. Fantastic work throughout this weekend. But for our runner-up and for our final prize, I'd also like to introduce Beth Pan, who will be presenting both.
Thank you again. Since Microsoft is sponsoring the last two prizes, I have the opportunity to come back on camera again. For those of you who don't know me, I am a software engineer who working for Microsoft. I help unblock technically from for our first-party and third-party developer ecosystem, specifically around the Microsoft Graph to enable people to build on top of our API services and platforms. So very excited to be here again. Hope everybody can continue working on their projects, like I said in the closing remarks. And here are the overall best technical, impactful, and organic. Runner-up is It's Electric. And you guys are going to get the Microsoft Surface headphones too. And for the grand prize, this is like no music at all. The Microsoft Surface goes to Sakuritz. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, but congratulations, all the winners, and thanks again for having us here. And I'm really glad to learn more this weekend with you all.
Thank you, everyone. So thank you all our VIP judges for helping us decide our winners. Thank you to all our participants. Thank you all our mentors and judges. Thank you, everyone. This event has been truly special. I've been so happy to host this weekend. And good luck, good night, goodbye.
Thanks very much, Josh.
Yep. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Great job, everyone.
Alan, Julia.
Really great, Josh, as usual.
Thank you.
Great job, everybody.
Fantastic. Thank you all.
Josh, I want you to go on for grad school here at Ohio State. And actually all the OHIO folks and the student teams, just amazing. Given how hard this is going to be, I'm just so proud of you all. It's amazing.
Yeah, everybody did a great job. It was really wonderful to see everything. Good work, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we have an amazing team here at OHIO. I've done it without them.
Yeah, it's
I love seeing all the videos.
yeah, the videos are nice.
Makes me so happy and so proud of the Ohio State students, and we had not only Ohio State students. So thank you to our visiting schools and participants. We're thrilled that you joined us.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
What were the other schools? Do you remember, Julia?
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, do I remember? I think I could list them off, or I could just read them off. I know we had Case Western, we had UC, we had Purdue.
Wow. So more than just one or two then.
Virginia Tech, Miami, Texas.
Wow.
I would like
come
to think
along
that they'd
once.
fly in for the event too, but
Yeah.
it's a great way to join us online.
So did some of them stay and make a video and get judged? Some of them, I'm assuming. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, we can comb through all of our data and cross-match things this week.
Yeah. No, I think some using, I was talking to some of the other mentors and judges and stuff, and I think incorporating some of what we learned here into future events, even if they're in person, is good. I think the videos are beautiful. Thanks, Cal, for organizing all that. It's hard to get that in real time. And the only thing I think is I had a hard time remembering certain key photo shots from the videos. So, like when they showed their boards and stuff like that. So maybe add, like 5 photos that, they could pull from the videos just to have them separately, just to remember how the designs were done. A design report would be fine, but I realize that's kind of ambitious, right? So,
we really like the videos because it also 2 minutes really forces somebody to very efficiently state the problem, the approach, conclusions, and we think that really helped in the presentations too. So
yeah.
Thanks for having us. We will be back, I believe, for high school IO as well. And then there is the final showcase. I'll be at the final showcase. My colleague Peter is going to be a mentor at the high school one. So hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you, Beth. And I think Anita's going to drop into on the showcase. She's going to see if she can get Mike to come as well, at least for a little bit, which would be awesome.
You will know all the details for the next couple of years.
Yes, let's make it happen. Have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. You guys too. Bye.
And then I get an applause button and a drum roll button for next time.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I was testing the applause button with Dominic yesterday, but when I tested on Discord, it just wasn't going through my mic. It would just, you wouldn't hear anything, so I cut it out.
Yeah.
I think that the trick is, though, that I would have to be sharing my audio throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
That might be tricky, but we'll figure it out.
You can get like a macro where you just press a button, it'll play the sound.
We'll create a fake Zoom login attendee who's just have my separate computer over here who's like just audio tech.
Yeah. Always unmuted, and all it does is clap or drum roll. Maybe there's just one that's drum roll and just one that claps.
Overlap too. I mean, hey, it works, so.
We'll assign that. Next time, Martha will do crowd control. I will do slides, and one person will have to do just claps, and one person will just drum rolls.
The whole showcase committee. And then looks like we still got some people. So just to confirm, I've been talking.
We have a few of our folks.
Yeah, but we're going to be making those project videos publicly available, correct?
I think a lot of people would like to see them, actually. That was brilliant.
I know at least from the judges and mentors, I got a lot of comments saying they really like the video system. They'd want to see more.
Yeah. It worked well. I was amazed how much hardware got into people's hands. I was surprised. That's something to keep in mind. I was so happy not to have to lug over all the stuff from the electronics club. My van is not going to be around forever. And so
Jacob did a really great job organizing us, packing all of the gear, handing all of the gear out, getting people to sign up for that. And it was a little challenging. I mean, he and I both tried to work on it together, but neither of us have necessarily the hardware background to look at a thing and know what it is. So we learned a lot about what a breadboard looks like, what different resistors look like.
No, I'm just amazed at how well this went. I couldn't be happier with what you all accomplished. As the 7th one, was somewhat the best, even if, you know, we had all these issues, just for future growth. And I think the ability to bring in challenges and sponsors in a wide variety of ways, you know, might be something we look at. Again, you look at, you know, some of these challenges that you don't think would be really popular, but turned out to be, like, you know, the BME challenge, you know, not very many prizes, but students are passionate about these things, right? We saw that same thing for social justice, you know, hardly any prizes, but still, you know, lots of passion there. I think that's something that we might look at.
Yeah, I still want to learn more about the social justice project that you're working on. Tech for social justice.
They're going to happen because, you know, I think what this is a place to seed activities. So it creates an energy that carries further in the already existing center, right? So there is a center that's going to go forward, and I'm thinking that I'm already seeing how to write proposals to funding agencies where part of the outcome and deliverable would be participating at one of these events and doing some kind of challenge, and then taking it back and then going back to the center or whatever and keeping it going. So this is an adrenaline push to get something going. Really, really impressive. All right, I don't want to
Thank
keep
you,
you all. You guys
Steve.
did way
Thanks
more
for your
work.
help and all the planning and prep and support you've
This
given
was
over
my
the years, not
easiest
just this
Makeathon,
year.
I'll tell you. You guys, you know, every year at a Makeathon, I'm always exhausted. I'm not exhausted, so thank you so much.
You know, I'm tired. I'm ready for a break. I'm gonna go to the park with my family, but I'm not dog tired. Yeah.
And Josh, you need to start bringing in your apprentice, right? You have too many skills to let those go, right? We need to have your understudy in place.
You tell him,
Makeup, same
Steve.
thing, right? Yeah.
I think Shashwat and Ashwin would be excellent candidates. They did very well in the VIP session today.
Awesome. That's so good to hear.
All right.
Hope they had a great time.
Nicely done, all.
Love you all.
See ya.
Talk to you soon.
Enjoy
See
the
ya.
day.
See everyone.